All right, good evening, everyone. It's May 2nd, 2023. I'd like to call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order at 6:02. And with that, we'll open up with public comment, if any. I see Barbara raising her hand. Hold on, Barbara, 1 second. Let me get you unmuted.
Oh,
All
sorry.
right, go ahead. Name
Okay.
and address for the record.
Sure. Barbara Kaplan, 4 Ocean Avenue, part of the Rockport Affordable Housing Coalition, which has garnered a lot of support, reaching out to people and doing information sessions for developing true affordable housing in Rockport, the kind that the state is interested in us reaching 10%. I've been coming to the select board meetings for several months now. And about 3 or 4 times I have asked about ARPA funds. I do see it is on the agenda today. And I just want to say, I know that ARPA funds can be allocated to local housing trusts to provide financial support to construct affordable housing. I also know ARPA funds can be given to community preservation committees in towns for affordable housing, and can be allocated to deepen affordability units as part of inclusionary zoning. I also know that Rockport received or is allocated, I don't know how it works, over $2 million. We've been told that we will hear about the ARPA funds and where they're going, that there'll be a survey so that we can have community input as to what do the people of Rockport want. So I'm very interested in what comes up on the agenda because I see ARPA funds are there. And in light of the fact that we have the 3 things I mentioned that can use ARPA funds, it would be a big vote of confidence and show real interest in developing affordable housing were one of these divisions be allocated ARPA funds. So I'm excited to hear later on in this meeting about ARPA funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. I'll let you know right now, there isn't a big update tonight. We are still working on the questions we want to get out for the survey. And then once that gets out, we're going to gather all the replies, and then we'll have more of a discussion amongst the board when we get all the replies back from the citizens.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Toby.
Thank you, Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street. Another way you could spend the ARPA funds is to defray the costs of the water and sewer bills, the enterprise funds, which are shortly going to go through the ceiling. 9% for the water and 10% for the sewer due to what we voted at the town meeting, probably more than that. So those calculations did not include the capital expenses in Article 6, which were cut from 3.4 million for the water and 5.8 million from the sewer down to a couple of $100,000 each. And at their last meeting, the DP commissioners were talking about they would go forward with asking for the things that would have been funded by the
Toby, can you hold on 1 second, Toby? We're having trouble
You're
hearing you.
muted.
Yeah, you're a little you're breaking up a little bit, so I'm losing you more towards the end. Can you mute yourself again and try? I'll
Can you do
get
that
you in a minute. We'll move on to Laura first, and then we'll get back to you, Toby.
Hi, Laura Evans, 77 High Street. And I also am in the Rockport Affordable Housing Coalition, and I'm very happy to see the ARPA funds on the agenda for tonight, and really look forward to seeing our new Rockport Affordable Housing Trust set up in by the bylaws after 6 years. We've got the trust, so hopefully we will be funding it and enable them to do their work. And thanks to Selectman Lilia for heading up that effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. All right, let's go to Z, and then we'll go back to Toby after that.
Yeah, Z Sepala, can you hear me?
Yep.
Ross, I have about a 3 minute and 15-second prepared speech I'd like to read.
Alrighty.
3 minutes and 15.
Yep, you're good. You're still there, Z?
I'm still here, but it looks like this is breaking up, and I don't want this broken up.
I can hear you now fine. I don't know if you want to
All
try
right.
it or if you want to give you a minute.
All right, let's try it, see what
Alrighty.
happens. Yeah. At the Rockport Civic League Forum held last Thursday, both challenges for selectmen were asked how many selectmen's meetings they had attended. So
No, you're breaking up, Toby. I
Oh,
mean, Z. Yeah, we can't hear you, Z. We'll go to Toby again, then we'll try Z one last time after Toby.
Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street. Can you hear?
You're still a little choppy, but we'll do our best.
I was talking about, and I don't know how much you heard about the DPW commissioner's concerns about the water and sewer rates.
Yep.
And after an extended discussion of that, and determination that they would go back to ask for the full sums, which would send the water and sewer rates into the stratosphere.
I can't hear Toby. I'm sorry. I hate to have him. Can we go back to him?
Yeah, Toby, if you're sticking around for the second part of the meeting, we'll give you a try again. It sounds like the connection's breaking up. I mean, I'm getting the gist that we're talking about the DPW commissioners and the rates, but we're
Okay.
missing kind of the details in between.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Z, if you're still there, you can give it another shot.
This is lovely.
have you heard?
Mute Toby. Unmute Z.
Ross, maybe we should try Jack. He's on Zoom.
All right, hold on 1 second. Z's unmuted again. Try it again, Z.
All right. I'm going to have to just go to my last paragraph and hope that you got
Alrighty.
it. Let's see if we did. As the board knows full well, I have had concerns about multiple office holding for the last 5 or 6 years. At town meeting, I proposed an article, Article T, which would have permitted multiple office holding in cases where new state laws actually conflicted with the clear and unambiguous wording of the town charter, which prohibits multiple office holding by members of the Board of Selectmen, FinCom, School Committee, and DPW commissioners. My wording would have erased the conflict between the town charter and newer state laws that actually require multiple office holding, for example, Affordable Housing Trust and Community Preservation Committee. When I spoke at town meeting as lead petitioner for Article T, 2 select persons told town voters this issue had already been the subject of a lawsuit last year and it had been dismissed. I would like to read a portion of the lawsuit's ruling to set the record straight. The judge in the case summarized the case in part by writing, on October 5th, 2021, plaintiff Zena Sepala filed a complaint for declaratory judgment and other equitable relief against defendants Donald Campbell, Sarah Wilkinson, Paul Murphy, Ross C. Brackett, Herman Lilia, and Robert Visnick. Therein, he asserts 4 claims for declaratory judgment and essentially asks the court issue an order. 1, prohibiting the members of the Board of Selectmen, Finance Committee, and the DPW commissioners from serving on other town boards and committees. 2, invalidating any determinations, recommendations, or reports issued by the boards and committees on which ineligible members of the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, and the DPW commissioners sat. And 3, enjoining the town from continuing to allow members of the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, and the DPW commissioners from serving on other towns, boards, and committees. As the historical record clearly indicates, changing the wording of the town charter was never contemplated in the lawsuit, despite select board member claims at town meeting. My question for tonight is, how can select board members criticize town citizens for not attending meetings when steady attendance for select board meetings and town meeting is only met with disregard for facts and the truth? Thank you.
Thank you, Z. All right, next up is Jack Reed.
Hi, I'm Jack Reed. I'm attending, representing the Congregational Church. I'd sent Mitch a letter couple of weeks ago about the Old Sloop Fair on July 21st and 22nd. And I'm understanding that you're going to talk about that tonight.
Mr. Chair, it's going to come up under the general updates under Article G, item G.
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks.
Jack. All right, seeing any more before I move on, I'll give Toby one last chance to see if he can get his connection settled. Seeing no more, will Toby try again if you want to?
Thank you, Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street. Am I audible?
Not really, no.
Not really, sadly.
Thank you, Toby. We'll try
Maybe we
again at the
can,
end of the meeting if you're still here.
Yeah, at the end of the meeting, end of the comments, that'd be,
All right. If I'm not seeing any more, I'll be stepping out for a moment and Vice Chair Wilkinson will be stepping in for my place as they go over the liquor license.
Great. Thanks, Ross. Good evening. So as people know, Ross recuses himself from any liquor licenses because his family has a liquor license at Brackett's. So tonight we have a public hearing on, I will read the notice that was in the paper. And the notice is Town of Rockport Board of Selectmen Public Hearing, Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, 6:05 p.m. Zoom meeting link will be available on the posted meeting section of the Town of Rockport website, rockportma.gov, prior to the hearing to consider the new seasonal alcohol license for K&K Incorporated, DBA Roymore Lobster Company. And then the public posting was signed Ross C. Brackett, Chairman. So is there a motion to open the hearing?
there is, Madam Chair. I move that the board open the public hearing for K&K and Company DBA Roymore Lobster's seasonal alcohol license.
Wait, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great, the motion has been made and seconded. Hearing any discussion? Hearing none, Selectwoman Donnelly,
Aye.
Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
Selectman Loya,
Aye.
Selectman Wilkinson, aye. So the hearing is now open, and I think I saw someone, is someone here to represent Roymore's?
John Porter is here, Madam Chair.
Great. Hi, John.
Hi, how are you guys? Thank
Good,
you for
how are
having
you?
me tonight.
I'm trying to find, oh, there you are. Hold on, I'm just trying to make you bigger. Welcome. Is there any way to you can turn your light up on your screen?
Yeah, sorry.
You're under like a cloak of darkness.
Yeah, no, here, I'll go in the other room 1 second.
Awesome. Perfect.
Better?
That's much better. Thank you.
Amazing.
Great. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
If you want to, so we all received a copy of your application in the mail. Do you want to just, for the public at the meeting, do you want to just explain kind of what your plans are and, what your plan with the licenses?
Yeah, so as I'll just say, Roymore Lobster Company, we've been in business and held food establishment license in the town of Rockport for I think 105 years now. And we're just looking to add the seasonal beer and wine license. We're already been BYOB, and we just have a lot of customers that are coming in, either A, not knowing that we're BYOB, or they really just want to be able just to order a glass of wine or a beer with their order and don't want to have to go to another establishment and then come back. So we saw an opportunity. As everyone knows, the town needs more restaurants and places for people to eat and enjoy a drink in a responsible manner. So we're trying to fulfill that.
Great. And then any questions from board members at this point? Obviously, it's a public.
Sure.
So in a moment, we'll open it up to the public for comment, but first we'll do questions from the board. Selectman Murphy?
Thank you. Hi, John. How you doing?
Well, Paul, how are you?
Good, good. This is exciting. Can you just explain so the public can know some of the renovations that you guys went through during the winter?
Yeah, so we just kind of reconfigured the inside of the lobster company. We're going to be moving the fresh seafood right next door, so that inside the lobster company, during COVID, when all the social distancing and restrictions happened, we lost probably 80% of our fresh seafood sales. because no one could see the fresh seafood. They couldn't come in and see it. So we saw an opportunity, and moving forward, just keeping the seafood separate from the quick serve, it's going to make our lives it's going to make it smoother running the restaurant operation, and also the seafood, fresh seafood operation. We're going to be able to keep open till Christmas now, because we'll have heat
Wonderful.
and insulation and next door, not in a 200-year-old shack.
Right, right. Did you blow open the door so you can get from the shack, for use of a better word, to the new part of
We
the
did not.
restaurant?
We
No.
did not. No.
Okay. Good. Well, that's exciting. I look forward to seeing it.
Thank you.
Selectman Lilia?
Yes, John, good to see you. Glad you're opening. Glad you're staying open till Christmas. We do love your oysters.
Thank you.
Anyway, as among other things. But anyway, in particular, are you adding tables?
We are not. We're actually going to be losing a table where the small service bar is going. But we are going to be doing a couple standing tables only. So the exact seating will be the same, just making the tables a little bit more narrower to gain a little bit of standing room.
Okay, and that's outside, you're saying?
Outside only, correct. We have only outdoor dining.
Okay, fine. Okay. All right, thank you.
Great. Any other questions? No? Okay, John, do you have anything else to add before I open it up to the public for questions or comments?
No, I think I'm good. I'm here if there's
Okay.
any other questions.
Okay, great. So this being a public hearing at this point, if any member of the public that's attending has any questions, comments, concerns, now's the time to ask. You can use the hand raise function or just wave Monty down. Any questions or comments? Somebody's got to have something. I think everyone's just so excited to get you guys open again. Not
Yeah.
just humans, but dogs. I love all the people who are like, my dog can't wait for you guys to open again.
Exactly.
Great. And I think the town administrator is here. Mitch, could you just explain, just because I think we haven't actually done a new alcohol license in a while, the process that gets, obviously if it's approved tonight by the Board of Selectmen, what happens next? There is
Sure.
kind of an intensive inspectional process that businesses go through that I know John is prepared for.
Correct. They've been through it with Sea and Cellar. So John and Lindsay are familiar with that. So the information would be transmitted, if it's approved tonight, to the ABCC. When we hear back from them that it's a thumbs up, we would then proceed forward. There are a number of inspections: police, fire, health, building inspector, and then we do a final sign off and a walkthrough with the regulations in hand to verify compliance. And then we present the license. So you grant the license tonight. It's issued once all of the stipulations that the board has, all the required approvals have been met.
Great, perfect. And John, I think this is really exciting. Glad to see you guys expanding even more. I know you're obviously one of the most popular businesses down there, so it's great to see the business getting even bigger.
Thank you, Sarah.
Is there any other questions from the board at this point? Okay,
Nope.
Is there a motion to close the hearing?
Yes, I move that the board close the public hearing for K&K Inc. doing business as Roy Moore Lobster seasonal alcohol license.
Okay, is there
I'll
a
second
second?
that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Selectman Lilia,
Aye.
Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
Selectman Donnelly, Selectwoman
Aye.
Donnelly, and Selectwoman Wilkinson, aye. So the motion carries to close the public hearing. Now, is there a motion for the license?
Yes, I move that the board approve the seasonal alcohol license for K&K Inc. doing business as Roy Moore Lobster, subject to ABCC approval, full compliance with the alcohol laws and regulations, and all required inspections.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion by the board? Nope. Hearing none. Selectwoman Donnelly,
Aye.
Selectman Lilia,
Aye.
Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
And Selectwoman Wilkinson, aye. The motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstention. Congrats, John.
Thank you, guys.
Get her open.
Oh, yeah, we're shooting for it.
Looking forward to it.
Keep us posted. I know it's, you know, a little bit long process here with the state, but keep us posted on your opening date with the
Yeah,
alcohol.
no worries. We're shooting to open May 10th, just without beer and wine to start.
Great.
It's just tough now with the state lobster closure until May 15th. So all
Right.
of our boats are state boats. So I'll just be having to buy from another dealer for the first week. But after that, we'll be back up to normal.
Great. Congrats.
Thank you.
Great. Nice to see you.
You also.
Okay. Monty, would you mind pinging Ross that we're all set? He can return. There he is. All set. Thanks,
All right.
Ross.
Thank you, Selectwoman Wilkinson. All right, I'm gonna jump around real quick. I see Gary's here. I'm gonna see if he's available at this moment. He is DPW Director. Hey, Gary, you there?
Yes, I am.
How are we doing? I was gonna jump ahead and let you do the update on the downtown paving project if you'd wanna.
Oh,
Go ahead with
awesome.
that.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Awesome. Very pleased with the paving project. It was very, went very smoothly, in a short period of time, under a week. I'm glad we had a contract in place with a local contractor, Mike Nacella, and Mike Carrigan, Mike lives in Rockport, worked very well with us, and having the support and the staff, communication with the businesses, the assistance with the town administrator, the police department, and like I said, my staff internally and externally, I think things went very well. So I'm very pleased at the outcome. And hopefully in the future, we can do some more projects.
Thank you, Gary. Any questions from the board that was wanna? Selectman Murphy?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Gary, thank you to the DPW and all the employees that worked hard along with the paving company, Nacella Paving. I, like the other candidates for reelection, was standing at 5 corners. And so we got a firsthand look at the process of, tearing it up and repaving and so forth. And it was a well-oiled machine. They did a terrific job. So just kudos to all involved. So thank you.
I appreciate that, Paul. Thank you.
Selectman Wilkinson?
Yeah, just to add, hi, Gary. Nice to see you.
Hi, good to see you.
Just to add, I think that, knock on wood, hopefully this is the start of great feedback, because I know as we ground break the DPW, the new facility this week, but I think in recent memory, we've had a DPW project where we've gotten so many compliments, both from the communication and just the work itself. Like they did a beautiful job. Honestly, it looks great. And so thanks to you for making it happen. And I got several people reached out to me, late at night, early in the morning, that they were really, really grateful to have so much communication and updated as well. Like as the time frame got shortened, people really appreciated being.
I appreciate that, Sarah. Just to give a little insight, this project was roughly 3/4 of a mile of paving. And the sidewalk and handicap ramps that we did and the striping, we're looking relatively around, I haven't gotten all the invoices back in, but probably close to $500,000. So just going forward, if I have the necessary funds, if we can try to get the vote or get the backing of the residents, we can accomplish more. There's a lot more that needs to be done. I am aware as well too, I'm trying to take care of the main corridors, but I understand there's a lot of side roads and smaller neighborhoods that need to be paved as well. So we are aware of that, and hopefully funding is there. I can make that happen.
Thank you, Gary. Anyone
You're
else?
welcome.
Selectman Lilia?
Yes, Gary, I just wanted to extend my public thanks to you for the smooth operation. no pun intended. It really was impressive. So you are to be thanked as well as everyone
Thank you.
else at DPW.
Thank you, Herm. I will, and definitely, it takes an army. I will pass those compliments along to the staff and the individuals that assisted.
All right, thank you. All right, Gary, you can take off and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty, next on the agenda is the consent agenda, which is approval of minutes, if any. 2023 license and permit approvals, year-end transfers, if any, and seasonal position appointments. And do I have a motion for that?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move that the board approve all non-held items on the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? Roll call vote, Selectwoman Wilkinson,
Aye.
Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
Selectwoman Donnelly,
Aye.
Selectman Loya,
Aye.
and Selectman Brackett votes aye, motion carries. All right, next up, we have interview and consideration of appointment for Patty Wigman and Michael Castrocini to Thatcher and Straits Smith Island Town Committee. And I believe I saw them both there,
Yeah, both
Do you
here,
want a
Mr.
motion
Chair.
first? Do you want a motion first or after?
but we can hear from them first.
Okay.
Let's see. Where were they? I see Michael. Michael, you're unmuted if you want to start off and let us know why you're interested in joining this committee.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Michael Castrocini, 63 South Street, Rockport. I've been working with the team over at the Thatcher Island, Straits Smith Island for this is my third season. So this is for me, it's been a well, basically, I'll say it's been a dream. It's been really good to meet everyone over there. Everyone over there works really, really hard to keep these islands up. It's been decades. It's phenomenal. And I just want to be a part of it. So anything I can do to help. I was asked if I would take over boat crew payments and the gasoline charges and make sure we're all aligned there. So just happy to be involved.
Thank you. Do I have any questions?
Putting you right to work.
Any
Yes,
questions from the
absolutely,
board?
Sarah? Yeah, I'm excited too.
Selectwoman Donnelly?
Yeah, thank you for stepping forward. We were lucky enough to have a visit out there, and it's just so impressive, the amount of work and the progress that you've all made. What have you been doing out there, Michael?
So I actually have a full-time job. I'm not yet retired. So unfortunately, I'm not on the Wednesday work crew, but I once in a while, I'm able to work with the boat crew, getting those people over. And they have the walkway on Straits Smith. I think it's almost completed this year. It's magnificent with the granite posts. Thatcher Island, I believe the painting of both houses either is happening. And of course, the tower, you know, we're not taking care of that, but all the fundraising on that. So other than that, quite honestly, when I'm over there on Saturdays and this year, there'll probably be a lot of trail cleaning. I'll probably be the brush committee and the seagull swooping off committee. I'm still low man. I have about 60 or 70 bosses when I land on the island, and that's just fine.
Well, be careful of the poison ivy.
I certainly will.
Selectman Murphy, I saw you had your hand up.
Actually, Denise asked the question that I wanted to ask, so we're on the same wavelength, I think.
All righty. Any other questions on the board? All right. And then do I see Patty? I did. I don't know if I.
Yeah, she's here.
Yeah, she's there.
Okay.
I just want to compliment
Oh,
Mike
right there.
joining Thatcher Island because he has been a hard worker since day one that he stepped foot on that ramp. And I'm sure that he's probably chuckling because he knows that I have been telling him what to do at sometimes. So he's been a great addition. I'm looking forward to having him there more often.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, how you doing? I've been a keeper on the islands for 15 years. So this was the year that it was time to sort of actually admit to myself that I'm retired and I have more time. And so I was happy to join the island committee and take notes during meetings. And I'm looking forward to being able to go out to Straits Smith these years. Straits Smith is another opportunity to really enjoy what we have in Rockport.
Wonderful.
Any questions from the board?
No, but I do have to say that Patty and her husband Paul spent a Thanksgiving out there a number of years ago. How long ago was that? About 10 years ago?
2012, we did.
Yeah, I thought that was terrific.
All right, seeing no more, I'll take a motion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the board appoint Patty Wegman and Michael Castantine. I hope I didn't screw that up. To the
Good.
Thatchers and Straitsmith Island Town Committee for a term to expire June 20th, 2023, subject to the board's commission's membership policy.
And do I have a second?
Yes.
All right, and then just so everyone knows, it's 2023 because that's when our renewals happen. And that's just the term they're stepping into. With that, any other discussion?
No,
Seeing none?
just thanks to them. I think this is obviously
Yes.
one of the coolest town committees, and not all towns can have committees of people that work on their islands, which is pretty sweet, right? So thanks to you guys, and obviously, pass along our thanks to everyone else that's working. I can't wait to get out there. We've been able to get out there for the last couple summers to visit. I've seen Patty out there. We take the kids and spend the day, and it's awesome. So can't wait to get out there again.
My donuts get out there more than I do, so.
That's a fact.
Plus, you need to go with the donuts someday.
Yeah, I will have to one
Need
day.
to go.
Roll call vote, Selectwoman Wilkinson,
Aye.
Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
Selectman Lilia,
Aye.
Selectwoman Donnelly,
Aye.
and Selectman Brackett votes aye, motion carries. Congratulations, Michael and Patty.
Thank you,
Although
everyone.
sounds like
Very
you guys
much.
are already been doing a lot of work anyways, so. All right, next up, we have action items. Consider approval of acoustic music festival for Millbrook Meadow. Who do we have here tonight? Mitch, for
Mr.
that?
Chair, you have Laura Hollowell from Millbrook Meadow Committee, and you have Jake Pardee here as well. The board has traditionally handled the approval for this particular festival, so we have it before you this evening. Laura is here to give you some background.
We'll start with Laura.
Good evening, Laura Hallowell, 37 High Street, Acting Chair of the Millbrook Meadow Committee. We're delighted to have Jake Pardee running the Acoustic Music Festival again. I believe it's the 45th year. And the procedures have been very well run in the last several years. We're very happy about it. It's going to be August 13th, which is the Sunday after Illumination Night. So that makes a very nice weekend for people.
Oh.
As you know, we notify all of the abutters of the park and the pond, including Union Lane and Holbrook Court, because of the music and the possibility that they would be surprised by any amplification that there is. So that's an annual procedure that we go through before the event takes place. But we're very delighted to have them back again.
All right, any questions for Laura before I turn it over to Jake? All right, Jake, why don't you tell us a little bit about the event and what your plans are?
Sure thing. Thanks very much. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So thank you, Laura. And I just want to say that I really appreciate the Millbrook Committee and for the Board of Selectmen for approving in the past and to allow us to keep it going. I've been running it now for, I think this is my 5th year, with COVID having messed things up a little bit, but things have gone smoothly. I've been trying to just improve one element every year. First was the sound system, and now it's just been a matter of trying to get some people from out of town to join us to increase, having some talent come. That's highlighted this summer. I have a few special guests that I'm looking forward to inviting, and essentially, we're not trying to do anything different besides gradually increase it every year. And although we have intentions of perhaps someday making it an expanded event where we might apply for a one-day liquor license and have vendors, we're still at the scaled back time where we're just looking to put on the show and not really change anything, but make it a fun day for everybody, and to have the music be good and to have everybody have a good time. So nothing new here to report.
All right, any questions for Jake from the board?
No, but I think that's wonderful that they're piggybacking on, not piggybacking, but the day after Illumination Night. That'll make it an extra special weekend in Rockport.
Are you guys planning any promotion together or haven't thought about it yet?
I always do a lot of thinking about it, and then I always find that the date comes a lot quicker, and you'll see me around town the week before going to all of the local hotels to make sure I make it on the agenda for telling all the guests. But we do what we can. It's still pretty much just me trying to put flyers around town.
All righty. Any other questions? If not, I'll open up to a motion.
Sure, I'll make a motion. Nice to see you, Jake. Glad that you're able to do this again. It's exciting. Mr. Chair, I move that the board approve the Acoustic Music Festival in Millbrook Meadow on August 13th, 2023, subject to any requirements from the police, fire, inspectional services, and Board of Health.
I'll second that.
In a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. Selectwoman Wilkinson,
Aye.
Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
Selectman Lilia,
Aye.
and Selectman Donnelly,
Aye.
and Selectman Brackett votes aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, Jake, and I'm sure Laura will be keeping a close eye on you guys down in the park.
And all are welcome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next up, we have consider the proclamation of National Town Clerk Recognition Week. I think, Mitch, if you have the
Mr.
have it for
Chair,
you. No, he's here as
the
well.
there's a proclamation that has been forwarded to the board for consideration for National Town Clerks Week. The town clerk is here with you this evening. Melanie is here. This was brought to the attention, and we brought it in front of the board at the direction of the chair and the vice chair for your consideration to issue a proclamation recognizing the work of the town clerk's office for all that they do, all of their efforts in a ton of different projects going on. So there we go. So it is for your consideration this evening if you wish to adopt this proclamation recognizing Town Clerk Melanie Waddell and Assistant Town Clerk Courtney Buchanan in their office for their hard work.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the board? I know me and Selectman Wilkinson has already seen it. Selectman Lilia?
No, I just wanted to chime in and say that our new town clerk and assistant town clerk seem to be moving at breakneck speed and taking up issues that they could otherwise dismiss, as I have talked with them and talking about voting and the like. So I heartily recommend it. I think that I like the enthusiasm. I like the new spirit. So I'm wholly in support of this.
Town Clerk Melanie, you want to say anything?
Sure. I thank you. First of all, I think it's really awesome that you guys are even considering this. It's really, for me, it's the admiration for town clerks, not only across the state, but the country, because over the last few years, the town clerk role has really been in the spotlight because of their flexibility, trying to increase voter participation. There's been so many different changes that we've had to acclimate to, and especially coming up on this local election next week. And it's the first time that we've had vote by mail in a local election. And really for my gratitude for the people that I work with, everyone in town hall, especially right now, the TAs, assistants, the board of selectmen, the DPW for facilitating the elections on election day and leading up to it, the police department for the role that they play. I'm just really grateful to be here, and I'm rounding up my first year and just want to let people know my door's open, and I'm really, really grateful to be here. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board?
No, I can attest her door always is open. I've tested that concept more times than I care to admit. And I'm just so grateful that you're there, Melanie and Courtney. You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll say the amount of communication that comes out of the office is very, it's out there. So I haven't seen anything like it. So maybe we'll take a few notes.
I too would like to just chime in. I think the combination of Melanie and Courtney together make a nice team, and you can tell when you go in there to get information, they're happy, they're approachable, the service that they provide is outstanding. So tip of the hat to both of you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
I'll take a motion if there is one. Or Selectman Wilkins, you want to say something?
No,
Saw
I
you
was
raise
just
your hand
going to say that I'm obviously super grateful to Melanie and Courtney for the work that they've done. And when I say, you know, obviously just to echo everyone else, they've hit the ground running and they're approachable. The door is always open and they're just so friendly. And, you know, I've been in there and people come in and ask questions and it's like they find a solution for everything, which is really cool. And they just, you know, their goal is to serve as many people as possible, which is great. So I'm obviously happy to adopt the proclamation. Do you want one of us to read it, Ross, or?
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and read it off before
Read
the
it?
motion,
Okay. I'll have to-
if you have it in front of you.
Yeah, I do have it in front of me.
All
Hold
right.
on, glasses on. So it's a proclamation for the 54th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, April 30th to May 6th, 2023. Whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of the local government, exists through the world. And whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now, therefore, we, the Rockport Board of Selectmen, do recognize the week of April 30th through May 6th, 2023 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Melanie J. Waddell, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. And then it would be dated, obviously, today, May 2nd, 2023, signed from the Board of Selectmen.
Right. Now with that, I'll take a motion.
Yes, I move that the board proclaim April 30th to May 6th, 2023 as National Clerk Recognition Week and extend our grateful thanks to Melanie Waddell and Courtney Buchanan.
I'll second that.
Second. All right. Any more discussion? Seeing none. Roll call vote. Selectman Wilkinson,
Aye.
Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
Selectman Lilia,
Aye.
Selectwoman Donnelly,
Aye.
and Selectman Brackett votes aye. Motion carries. All right, you have your week, Melanie. I want to make sure it's celebrated every year. So the brew will remain open. We won't close though for it.
Come on. I will celebrate. It's always a
Alrighty.
party. Thank you.
What
Thank
the
you.
heck? Go to 2 weeks, Melanie. Throw caution, win.
All right. Next up is consider approval of town election police detail assignments. I think Mitch, if you just want to touch on that real
Sure,
quick.
Mr. Chair. Changes to the law last year require that the board approve the assignments at each of the polling places. So what we have done the last, I think this might be the third or fourth time we've done it. You have in front of you who the detail officers are who have signed up for it. You assign them, and we've also recommended, and you have done in the past, that you allow the chief of police the flexibility to substitute someone as the need arises.
All right. Any questions?
Mitch, do you think, since Ross and I are candidates for re-election, that we should recuse ourselves to not vote on this?
That is your call, Selectman Murphy. This is not something that is a substantive matter, but it is your prerogative on what you want to do for that.
Okay.
I will not be, Mr. Murphy, just so you know.
Okay, I'll vote on it then.
All right. With that, I'll take a motion.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I move that the board approve the police officer assignments as determined by the chief of police for May 9, 2023 annual local election Further, the chief of police is authorized to substitute an officer at a designated location if the need arises, with notice to the town administrator and town clerk.
Right, do I have any more
I'll second
discussion?
that.
Second, any more discussion?
Nope.
Seeing none, roll call vote, Selectwoman Wilkinson,
Aye.
Selectman Murphy,
Aye.
Selectman Lilja,
Aye.
Selectwoman Donnelly,
Aye.
and Selectman Brackett votes aye, motion carries. All right. All right, that's all set. We're gonna move on to the Board of Selectmen and Town Administrator updates. And we took care of paving. And we'll start with Mitch first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the first item is related to the Congregational Church. Mr. Reed is here for that matter. They are holding their Old Sloop Fair on July 21st and 22nd from 9 to 3 each day. They are seeking approval to close School Street from Main Street to Broadway for use of the parking spaces for the craft vendors to actually be in the parking spaces for that event. So this is something that is beyond what we would typically approve through the police department for uses of parking spaces and things of that nature. It is at a busy time in the season, so we wanted to raise it to the board's attention for your consideration. July 21st and 22nd from 9 to 3. And again, Mr. Reed is here if you have specific questions.
All right. Selectwoman Wilkinson,
You might have said this, Mitch. How many Jack, how many parking spaces is it?
Well, I don't know how many parking spaces it actually is. But those parking spaces that are on that portion of School Street, we wanted to invite vendors to come, craft vendors to come and set up there.
Oh, to sell their, okay, got it.
Yes,
To
yes.
sell, okay, cool, got it. I thought for a second it was just to use it for the vendors I understand now. Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
And yeah, the fair itself will take place on the front lawn of the church. We want to have music, sell hot dogs and hamburgers, bake sale, yard sale. So we're sort of beefing it up. We've been having this fair for over 50 years, so we're trying to make it a little bit more interesting to the public.
and Mitch, the police chief doesn't have a problem with this. Has he
Well,
reviewed
it's
it yet?
it's
I know
a
it's up to
matter
us,
for the
but
board.
What was
matter
his
for the board.
what was his feel on it for safety?
Well, the road would be closed. So,
he's
and
not
it
worried
would
about that,
allow
though?
for emergency vehicles through. So it's your prerogative on whether you want to approve it or not. It's a road closed. So it's not
Alrighty.
people trying to sneak by and be too close to the parking spaces. So, we would advise the police department of your decision.
All right, Selectman Lilja?
Yes, would this include tents, as are often the case with an art fair?
Yeah, those little pop-up tents,
Okay.
which are about, what, 6 feet square.
Right. And would that be one side of the street or both sides?
Just one side, just where the parking, diagonal parking lines are, which is about half the street.
So effectively emergency vehicles could go through there without.
Yes,
particular problem.
absolutely. And we'd have the public on the sidewalk, so we'd have the vendors' tents facing the sidewalk.
Okay, okay.
And idea is to keep that half the street open for emergency vehicles and also local residents.
Fine.
Selectwoman Donnelly?
Yeah, so I just I'm sorry, Jack, I'm still trying to understand. So are you talking about the parking spaces from Main Street to the library?
Yes.
Or from the library to,
Right, talking Main Street, School Street, from Main Street down to Broadway.
and would you have enough room to do what you want to do if you limited the tents just to Main Street to the library driveway there?
Well,
I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
because the library is open at least on Saturday, I think on Sunday too. It just
yeah,
to allow space for the library patrons to get in and out of that parking area.
yeah, we could do it. Of course, the library has parking behind the library.
I think the
That's what
biggest
I
thing
mean.
is the whole
The
road would be
director is
closed in
here.
the first place, I believe, correct?
The
So,
director is here if you want to hear. from
Already,
her.
yeah, if Cindy
okay.
wants to
Yeah.
chime in. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, yes,
Hi, Cindy.
thank you. Yeah, that would be a concern for us at the library because of it's the exit for staff parking and for the mainly for the people that do park, they go down Old Stone Barn Lane and leave through that way. To have traffic going in and out of what's usually just the entrance would be an issue for us. And we are closed on Sundays, but we do still get a lot of traffic and people going through that way.
Did you say this is one day, Mitch?
2
days.
days, Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
But,
we are open Friday and Saturday.
But but we'd only be taking half the road. So people exiting the library could still make
Okay.
a left-hand turn.
No,
We
that
wouldn't
that
be
wouldn't,
able to do that.
that wouldn't work. I don't think they can take half the road. I think the road either has to be open or closed. I don't think the police
Okay.
chief is gonna, I unfortunately, I don't think the road is wide enough there. The police chief's not gonna cutting half the, I totally get your idea, Jack, but
Okay,
I just know this from what we went through with the outdoor dining, unless there
Yeah.
are like Jersey barriers put up, the police chief won't let cars near,
okay,
but I think, so
Can
I
they
think
make-
what we've come to is it would be totally closed from, like the Willoughby's corner, right, down to
Right.
where the library, down to
Yes.
Stone Barn Lane,
okay.
right?
Yeah, we could do that.
I think that would work, and then, so that would be closed. Half the road would be kept empty in case in case they had to open it up for an emergency vehicle, but it
Correct.
would be open for any traffic,
Yes.
right, Mitch?
Correct. Yes, and they've proposed making sure it's available for emergency vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to approve this as long as obviously it's, then the police chief okays the plan.
And if anything changes, it gets a little bit of time to get back to us.
Yeah, but I
As
think
you
it's
figure out the
great.
vendors and stuff.
Yeah, how exciting though to expand like such a long-standing fair and come up with
Yeah.
a new idea to make more space.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's what we're trying to do.
I do remember, Jack, when I was a kid growing up, that they used to have an auction down there, and they would
Yes.
block off that street.
Yeah, we're sort of getting back to the way it used to be.
That was a long time ago. Everything's a long time ago now.
Selectman Wilson, if you'd like to make a motion. If Mitch, unless you guys, and Mitch wants to just remind us of the dates.
Sure, July 21st and 22nd from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Sure. I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the Congregational Church use of the upper end of School Street for the Old Sloop Fair, pending police chief approval for July 21st and 22nd. Is that what it
Yes.
is? Great.
Second.
And second, do I have any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. Selectman Wilkinson.
Aye.
Selectman Murphy.
Aye.
Selectman Lilia.
Aye.
Selectman Donnelly.
Aye.
And Selectman Brackett votes aye. Motion carries. All right, Jack, keep us updated if anything changes.
Okay, Mitch, thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
All right. You want to continue, Mitch, on to the
Sure, Mr. Chair, thank you. FY 24 operating budget, we are moving our way towards that for FY 23. We have entered the year-end transfer process, in year-end transfer phase, as evidenced by your first round of approvals this evening from the departments. We are working particularly with larger departments to make sure that there are no budget issues as we move forward. So the department heads, the finance director, and myself are in regular communication. We're reviewing year-to-date expenditures on a weekly basis now. As the warrant clears, we have a discussion on making sure everything is in good shape. Utility costs are significant. Particularly our electric costs have been very significant. So we are closely monitoring those through the DPW. Even with our solar agreements that are in place, there are still, again, high costs for that. We are hopeful that we're pretty much done with the oil bills coming in But that, again, that's always an expensive proposition for these buildings that are not as sealed as well as newer buildings or newer homes. So those are certainly something that takes a pretty great impact on the budget. So we are working our way through those with DPW, police, library, making sure that we will be in good shape as we move towards the end of the year. ARPA, we are close to having the survey ready to go. I expect that'll be ready in a hopefully a week or so, depending on what we have for staffing. We have, as you're aware, a new administrative services manager starting next end of next week. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to pick back up and move through a bit quicker on some of those items. General updates for the board to be aware of. You all received an invite today. The DPW will have a groundbreaking ceremony on Friday at 1 p.m. up at the DPW facility. Certainly very exciting that we've reached that particular point, that the project is coming to fruition. So the DPW has been facilitating this, and the board, the commissioners, the building committee will all be present. We certainly hope the staff will also be there. So 1 o'clock on Friday up at the DPW yard. There will be a brief ceremony marking this. So first new building in 20 years, I want to say, from the police station. So certainly a momentous occasion. A lot of effort put in by the building committee, by the commissioners, by the board, by the staff over the last at least 10 to 15 years trying to get this to come to fruition. So it will be good to see that happen. The fencing will go up in the next day or two, very likely, up at the facility. So they've already done all their markings in the area. And then I expect that we will see things start to come down within a month or so. They have some asbestos abatement around the windows they need to take care of, clearing out the utilities, things of that nature. But kudos to the staff who have spent a significant amount of time purging everything from the building and getting into some temporary facilities. They've done some great work up there, modifying some spaces to make them work. One area that was kind of an open-ended tarped area is now the temporary garage. They've closed it in on both sides. Our public properties and our building maintenance crew have done an excellent job with that. So some temporary inconvenience and restriction up in that area will certainly pay off in 2 years with a brand new facility. Our gas pump will remain open. DPW is working closely with the departments that need fuel. That will remain open. It'll just be a little bit of a tight turnaround up in that location. So I hope to see everybody on Friday at 1 o'clock up at that location.
I will add, if I may, Mitch, this is the last building that has needed to be repaired. In the late 80s, we redid the whole school system and the educational system up at Jordan's Lane. In the early 90s, the library was moved from the Carnegie Library to the old Tar School building. I think that was like 1992. The police department was taken care of about, as you mentioned, 15, 20 years ago. We addressed town hall by buying the Granite Savings Bank and creating the annex. So this is the last major building that needed being addressed, and it's exciting. I look forward to Friday.
Great. Okay, that's what I have for general updates at the moment, Mr. Chair. Ready to discuss Nugent Stretch. Selectman Loya had asked.
First, I'll see if any of the members want to have any discussions or updates they have before we move on to the Nugent Stretch.
Oh, I do.
Alrighty.
I don't think I have any liaison stuff tonight. But I did want to share that I was reached out to by Rosemary Lesh, and Rosemary actually hand delivered 2 letters to me that I wanted to take the opportunity to share to the board. I know the town administrator never likes when he never likes getting kudos, and I know he always keeps his head down and works away. But I think lately, the past couple weeks, there's just been some scuttlebutt on social media, some people, asking about the town administrator and questioning the salary. And I know that some town employees were concerned and wanted to find a way to support the town administrator's office and what the office does for several departments. And so Rosemary hand delivered 2 letters to me today. And I told her that I'll just read one of them. One of them's from the Harbor Department. The other one is from the Ambulance Department. And it's a memo. I just wanted to read it to share, but it's dated May 1st. It's actually addressed to Mitch, but she delivered them to me. And then she asked me after I read them. I asked her permission to read them at the meeting. And then I told her I would give Mitch the original copies, but we're copied on it. And it says subject support for Ambulance Department. And it says the Rockport Ambulance would like to take this opportunity to support you in your efforts to provide for the needs of the personnel and equipment for all emergency services. You have always been available when situations warranted extra conversation and actions, helping generate the funds to purchase a new 2022 Horton 450 ambulance for the Ambulance Department. During the pandemic, you gave 100% to make all public buildings as safe as possible. Air filters, window fans, hand sanitizers, masks and gowns, innovative spray devices, COVID test kits, just to name a few of the efforts to keep the town employees healthy. Due to the pandemic, the ambulance facility needed upgrading. A combination washer dryer purchased and installed so EMTs' clothing, etc., could be laundered before leaving the building. A shower area was created on the left side of the existing jail cell area for personnel decontamination. Gotta love Rosemary's detail. These additions made our headquarters a safer and healthier place to deal with the backlash of the COVID pandemic. You continued to support us. At this spring's town meeting, Rockport Ambulance Department standby pay increased, that the town meeting voted to increase, to encourage our EMTs to participate and others to join our on-call department. We continue to support Administrator Vieira in his efforts to enhance public safety in all emergency departments. And it's signed Rosemary Lesh, Scott Story, Lenny Brusso, Millard Ring, Corey Damaris, Jane Carr, and Patty Tucker. And then we got a very similar letter that I'll obviously just share with the board, signed by the entire Harbor Department, Scott Story, Rosemary Lesh, Ron Petoff, and Story Reed.
Sarah, would you mind reading that? I'd like to, I think
Want
the
me to
public
read
should hear
one
that.
too?
Yeah, I would think so. If you don't mind.
No, not at all. The Rockport Harbor Department would like to take this opportunity to support you in your efforts to provide for the personnel and equipment in the town's emergency services. You've always been available to the Harbor Department when situations warranted extra conversation and actions, helping generate the funds to purchase a much-needed public safety patrol boat. A 25-foot safe boat with trailer for the Harbor Department was a key example. During the pandemic, you gave 100% to make all public buildings as safe as possible. Then she lists the same equipment. The waterfront is the face of Rockport. You continually supported us to keep it a safe and beautiful place for those coming by land or sea. We continue to support your efforts to enhance public safety in all emergency departments. Signed, the Rockport Harbor Department. So I just wanted to share those with the board, and I will give the original copies to Mitch so he can have them.
All right. Thank you, Selectman Wilkinson. All right, with that, we'll move on to discussion for Newton Stretch sidewalks. I think Selectman Lee will start us off.
Okay, sure. So what prompts me to resurrect this? It's the same that prompted the interest on the part of the past chair, Don Campbell, to initiate it, I dare say. And that's that there are sidewalks ending from Gloucester before Nugent Stretch, a sidewalk ending from Rockport before Nugent Stretch. And there are people who traverse that sidewalk and walk on Nugent Stretch at their own risk. He went further beyond the thought of it and worked with the Mass Department of Transportation to a degree that Mitch can perhaps better explain than I. But anyway, out of that relationship came a proposal by MassDOT showing 4 different approaches to adding sidewalk or sidewalks to Nugent Stretch to or address the situation that exists. And I would like to see that reinvigorated. I think we have an obligation to those who do walk that stretch, and the mere fact that there is a sidewalk going down Great Hill and a sidewalk coming along from Gloucester that ends before Nugent Stretch, it just there's a gap. The gap needs to be filled. So I would like to do that. I'd like to go back to the Mass Department of Transportation and ask them for an update on their proposal. And having an updated proposal, we then can consider it. But I'd like to see that proceed.
Have you got a chance to talk to Mr. Campbell on why it's kind of halted or no?
COVID.
No, I believe that it halted because no one within the current group picked up on the torch or the banner and moved forward on it. He, as far as I know, didn't go to anyone in particular. He might have. If
No,
that
I'm saying because when he was chair, it kind of stopped that before that year. So even then, I wasn't sure why he stopped really focusing on it.
Well, the proposal, the proposal didn't come through until November of 2021. So there was Don, in the throes of winding down his membership, if you will, or position on the Board of Selectmen. He was giving up his chair position, and he was also not running. He had already said that. So I can see, well, without even asking him, but of course I could ask him too. I can see why it ended as it did. So.
All right.
And I think an additional item to consider, one of the main discussion points throughout the entire process, particularly between Selectman Campbell and Senator Tarr's office, who was the facilitator with MassDOT, was funding for it. The thought was that, I think certainly Selectman Campbell wanted it to move forward. MassDOT was basically saying, we've done some survey work and given you some options, and was leaving it there. So I think the next phase is really that getting the state, if the board chooses to move forward, getting the state to add it to some type of capital list on their end to put some funding behind it. As you're aware, it's a state highway, and would be something that the state would need to fund.
Selectman Donnelly?
Yeah, I think ideally in a perfect world, we'd all love to see a sidewalk there, but I think this is a proposal that is fraught with lots of challenges. The funding alone would be an issue, given all the other priorities that we have in town, like paving our roads. But the other challenge I see is that this is an enormously sensitive wetlands area. There are vernal pools, there are bordering vegetated wetlands, it's in our water resource zone. I think that before we do anything, if this is something that the board votes to pursue, that we should take this to town meeting and have a public discussion about it before we go back to DOT. I personally would love to see it happen. I just don't think it's the right place to be putting in a sidewalk. We've already got drainage from the road, the hardtop going into those wetlands. I think this would be a disaster for those protected wetlands areas.
All right, Mitch, I noticed the report doesn't really it just mentions the resource areas. Did they ever do any contact with DEP or the local Concom?
I think
No.
they did the layouts and that was it.
Yeah, the report says that there would be all sorts of permits and mitigation, and if you look through it, they recognize the challenge associated with doing any work in that area.
Selectman Lawyer?
Yeah, given the fact that the report does include reference to all of the topics that Selectman Donnelly or Selectwoman Donnelly has mentioned, it isn't that this was being done in any way without consideration of where the sidewalk is in fact located. But just because it's is to include many discussions with many different groups and the need to address the different complications, to me, does not mean that it is not something worth considering. And the other is, as has already been mentioned by the town administrator, this is a project that would be financed by state, has nothing to do with any monies from the town that would otherwise be used for road improvements. There would not be a conflict as I see it.
Selectman Donnelly?
Yeah, this may be a state road, but Rockport has its own wetland bylaws that need to be taken into consideration. And at a minimum, I think this should go to the Conservation Commission for consideration before anything is done. And again, while the report takes into account, it acknowledges the sensitive wetlands areas, that doesn't mean that they won't be damaged. There is no way that you're going to be able to build a sidewalk in this area without damaging those wetlands. It's just not possible.
Continue, Selectman Lawyer?
Yeah, I think using the words "not possible" is not really the kind of language that we need to use at this point. I think what we need to do.
Excuse me,
I think we.
Selectman
I
Lilia,
think we-
I'll use
I
the
think
language
we-
I choose to
Please,
use.
please. When you describe something in terms that are restrictive, then I think it frustrates or defeats any problem at all that we might have without there being full consideration. I dare say full consideration is the first priority and not describing this as impossible. So therefore, I'd go ahead.
Selectman Donnelly on that
Yes,
thing?
with all due respect, Selectman Lilia, I will use the language I choose to use when I choose to use it. Thank you. And I think that this is a fraught, as I said, fraught proposal. And I think that it's quite clear that the wetlands will be damaged. If you read the report, it's obvious that they will damage. It is not possible to conduct this process without damaging the wetlands. And clearly we disagree. I'm not shaking my head while you're speaking, so please don't shake your head while I'm speaking. Thank you.
So, any other comment from the other two members? Selectman Murphy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I remember when Selectman Campbell proposed this, and one of the reasons that he did was because of the amount of people walking along Nugent Stretch. I don't see a tremendous amount of people walking on Nugent Stretch. I'm on that road a number of times a day. Occasionally I'll see a runner, but I don't see this being a high traffic area where we would need a sidewalk. I will listen, of course, and be open-minded along the project. But again, if this is for safety reasons for people, I don't see a lot of traffic, walking traffic on Nugent Stretch.
And then it being a state highway, Mitch, would the state be in charge of clearing the sidewalks as well, or would that be put on the town in the end? Do you think? Just out of
I don't know. Certainly though, if it's theirs, it's theirs. But I don't know.
And then so getting the feel from this, Selectman Lilia, are you gonna kind of spearhead this to get it moving again to see where you can lead up to, or what are you?
That's right. That's my hope. My hope is that there will be enough support on the board to say, yes, we ought to get an updated proposal from DOT and proceed to then distribute the proposal to different groups that have a responsibility, not just the Conservation Commission, but other groups. And see whether or not there's support. I'm trying to find out to some degree how many people actually traverse the Nugent Stretch is something that I think we should try to do. I think that there may be some way through the Housing Authority, maybe, to assess that, address it. And sure, if it's, I won't put a number on it, but if it's a number that everyone considers to be insignificant, that's one thing. But if in fact there are people who traverse it on a regular basis, I think some consideration should be given to it. And again, these would be state funds that would be behind it.
All right, so yeah, I'm in support in the sense of, you starting to look at it again. Maybe I like the idea of going to town meeting, like Selectwoman Donnelly said, but I think first of all, you should probably begin with the local Concom just to see where they're at and get a feel for how they feel about the project moving forward and what roles they can play in it. To, if you get their support, that would be a big win, especially going to the state. So that's my feel on it, but if you're going to spearhead this, I think that would be good for the whole town.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the board?
No, I agree, Ross.
Alrighty. And then town administrator, one more update.
I do have one more, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Regarding the website, working with the IT department, the director and our digital communications manager. The survey for that has been finalized and is ready to go. In speaking and engaging with the IT director on that, they will be doing the kickoff later this month for that project with the intention that the new website will be fully in place before the end of the calendar year. So some really good progress. The survey discussion that we had today gathers particular information on what do you go to the website for? What would be helpful for you to have on the website? Some of that basic information that will allow the department to work with the vendor on the town's behalf to make sure we're meeting the needs of the particular users. So we're glad to be able to move forward with that under the direction of the IT director and our digital communications manager.
Awesome. It's a great update. Thank you. And with that, see no more updates, I'll turn it over to public comment, if any. CDP.
Am I on?
Yes, you are, and we can hear you, but just
Thank
again,
you.
name and rec.
Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street, and a different gadget. As for Nugent Stretch, certainly Denise Donnelly has the right to say anything she wishes to say, and Herman Loda has the right to nod his head up and down or sideways, however he pleases. Both are freedom of speech. The key words that Denise said, town meeting, that Ross Brackett also echoed, are the proper approach. Let the citizens decide. I, for one, am dead set against it, but I'm one man, one vote. What I was trying to say before when I could not be heard about the DPW expenses for water and sewer. The water and sewer rates are going up 9 and 10% just on the basis of the running expenses, the operating expenses. That would not include the several $100,000 for each in Article 6 that we voted, which was enormously reduced from the 3.8 million and 5-point-something million for the sewer that was withdrawn at the last moment. That money will, all of it still need to be spent. The DPW commissioners can tell you better than I. And that would be one thing that the ARPA money could be spent on. Indeed, it could be spent on any number of things, affordable housing, any number of things. But if you're going to go to a town meeting and find out what the voters want, you might consider delaying till the town meeting and doing a decision tree to ask the voters how they would like to see the funds spent. That would be a more efficient and more democratic way of doing it than doing the survey, which you plan. That's a good idea. The town meeting would be a better one. I'd also like to remind you of what I said at the last meeting when I talked about Pat Brown's motion at the town meeting to add money for selectmen stipends. It's not the particular motion I'm concerned about. It's the procedure of adding money to articles at town meeting. Apparently, Pat Brown did not run her motion by the moderator 48 hours beforehand. So all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. You remember Animal Farm. And no, I am not calling Pat Brown an animal, but clearly some people are privileged, others not. So if we're going to have rules for the town meeting, and we rejected my attempt to scuttle the 48-hour notice requirement for amendments to articles, whatever we come up with, it needs to apply across the board to everyone. And the same thing applies to adding sums of money to line items. Town council ruled it was in order. I'm incredulous, but town council knows and I don't. But it's that important in terms of the function of a town meeting that you need to get it from town council in writing with citations from state law, because there's nothing in the local code of bylaws that deals with this in any way. We need to get it in writing. It needs to go into the voters booklet, and everyone needs to be aware of what the rules are so that we're all playing on a level playing field, everyone knowing the rules. I'd like some response to everything that I've said. And I want to know if you're going to get something into the booklet and word out beforehand on what is legitimate, what is acceptable.
Thank you, Toby. As you've mentioned, it's the moderator has the discretion to hear each motion if he wants to and deny a motion that wasn't, as he puts it, recommended to be done in 48 hours. But in that sense, I will certainly reach out to council and see if they have any more input that we can get in wording for the town booklet. Or
Thank
town
you.
meeting booklet, I should say.
Thank you.
Alrighty, is that everything, Toby?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Looking, I see Barbara raising her hand.
I'm happy to hear that the ARPA survey is forthcoming. I'm not sure if I understand that for groups to make application for ARPA funds, if there's a process, and I'm wondering if that is the case. At the same time that you put out the survey, could you detail the process so we could move this along?
Thank you, Barbara. Can you just do your name and record, name and address for the record? It was cut off before.
Oh, I'm sorry. Barbara I will start before you unmute me. Barbara Kaplan, 4 Ocean Avenue.
Thank you. And in the sense of you want like an application process, is that what you're asking for?
Yeah, because I've heard through the scuttlebutt that there is a process for making application for ARPA funds. So if we're going to get a survey and you're going to gather information as to what people want, if that's true that there's a process for a group to apply for some of the pot, then what is that process? And could you at the same time get it out with the survey so that we could move this along, because I think it's important.
So just this is another update. The overall, the town administrator is also working with the department heads to get a feel for what they could use ARPA funding for as well. So we're going to get that input. Then the survey will be going out to you. And in the sense of an application process, we don't really have one. We've had one submission from a nonprofit in town, and they've submitted it. And I've emailed them back, letting them know that we need a little more detailed presentation for us to even consider the proposal that they're putting forward, so we can better understand where the funding will go and how it will affect their organization. But other than that, we don't really have an application process. And I don't think we're, maybe we'll put one together, but if Selectwoman Wilkinson wants to capitalize on that, and she can.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that I totally agree with what Barbara's saying, that if there's an application like to try to speed things up, my guess is that as soon as that at our next discussion about ARPA funding, if we decide to go in certain directions, for example, give money to local organizations, then we obviously need an application process. So, but just so Barbara knows, you didn't miss anything. One local organization just basically sent a note to the office. And so I think if we decide to go that route, and that may be where some of the funding goes, then I think we will probably at one of our next couple meetings, come up with an application process, which I don't think will be anything like groundbreaking or really intense, but just so you know, you didn't miss. I just want her to know that she absolutely didn't miss anything. And we just got a note from a local nonprofit. But I totally agree with your point and see where you're coming from. Does that make sense, Ross?
Yep. I think Barbara understands. She just muted again. So,
Yeah.
All right. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Second. Roll call vote. Selectwoman Wilkinson.
Aye.
Selectman Murphy.
Aye.
Selectman Loya.
Aye.
Selectman Donnelly.
Aye.
And Selectman Brackett votes aye. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you, Ross. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.